Of course. Okay. Anyways, we'll talk about it.
Is it working?
Don't have to.
All right. Counselor Thoreau has a new technology
Brand new
here
technology.
to do, so I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we will get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, for being here on February 2nd for our council meeting. Next up on our agenda is public comment. This portion of the meeting is specifically set aside for comments from the public who are asked to limit their comments to 2 minutes. Any person interested in providing public comment via email should email publicmeetings@rockyhillct.gov prior to 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting to have their public comment read into the record. Looks like we are going to have some comments today, so I would just remind everybody to be respectful of people's time so that everybody has a chance to speak today. If anybody has any comment, feel free to speak up or step up to the mic.
Thank you. Thank all of you for your time. I understand you have a busy night. This is on a lighter note. My name is Henry Vassell, the Education Foundation, Rocky Hill Education Foundation, right here in town. I just wanted to announce March 27th, we are having our Harlem Wizards basketball game, where the basketball players come in and play against our teachers and our education people from the schools. It is $25 a person. It's going to be at 7 p.m. at the high school. And the best part about the Education Foundation, if you didn't know, 100% of the proceeds go back to our schools. Since its inception in 1995, we have donated back to the schools $178,881. So, I mean, it's an all-volunteer organization. We take nothing. Everything goes right back. Our mayor has so graciously volunteered to help us in any way possible. Yep. I don't know if you're going to play some defense or you're just going to help us with the tickets, but
I'm a very good bench warmer when it comes to basketball.
we will figure all that out. So one more time, March 27th, 7 p.m. at the high school. If you would like to get tickets, go on Facebook. It's The Education Foundation. Facebook, The Education Foundation. You can buy tickets right online. Appreciate everybody's time. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Charlie.
Anyone else?
Charlie Wisnowski, 670 Old Main Street. Congratulations. Originally, I was going to commend you, and I wanted to comment on an issue important to me. Theater of the absurd. Now I have 80 seconds left. I don't have time for a coherent sentence, but you will not reply anyway. No Kelson Row use of Veterans Memorial Green. No Kelson Row use of $500,000 state grant. I FOI'd for information. Kelson Row only pays the town $80,000 a year, and that's going to be true for 10 years. 6 of you, of the 9, in sum, paid more than $80,000 in your home real estate taxes in 2025. Kelson Row, currently, the annual rent from 2 two-bedroom apartments exceeds $80,000. There are over 210 apartments. Do better for the town. The end. Thank you for the 120 seconds. Here is a failed attempt to speak to you coherently on a matter in 120 seconds.
Thank you. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Be careful.
Great spot. Yes, thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening, everyone. I'm also thrown off by the 120 seconds, but I'm going to do my best here to be succinct. My name is Daniel Bishop. I am a resident of Concierge Apartments. As many of you are aware, there is a situation ongoing there as a result of the most recent winter storm. And before I begin, I would just want to thank our mayor and our deputy mayor and several members of his council for coming out to survey the situation on the ground. Thanks Senator Matt Lesser for coming out today to shed light on what's happening there. For those of you who may not be aware of this, there are myriad frozen pipes in that building that have burst, causing hundreds of residents to be without hot water, many to be without heat, many to be without parking spaces. Our parking lot is a mess. And for someone like me who traverses with a cane, it creates an absolute hazardous situation. The tales of Concierge, Century Hills have gone back longer than I've been around. And I think now is the time for those tales to stop. I think it's time, hopefully, for this town to take action on them because it's becoming a slumlord situation. And I want to say it's good to feel that our government cares about us for representatives to come out and look at the property. I know we don't pay property taxes, but it's good to know that we're still cared about by our town leadership. And I hope that this town council, whether it be through our blight ordinances or any other the ordinances of this town, will look at this issue more seriously and help us finally put an end to the scourge that is Concierge Century Hills. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
How we doing, Council? Thank you for everybody who came out to Concierge today. As this gentleman just said, there's an ongoing issue there.
Can you just state your name and
I'm
address
sorry,
for the record?
first time
No,
doing
that's
this
okay.
kind of
That's
stuff.
all right. Thank you.
Dave DeFelice. I live over at Century Hills, Concierge. It's been an ongoing issue for more than a few years. I've had personal, bathroom issues freezing up in the wintertime. Can't use the shower, can't use the toilet. Now, they made complete attempts to repair that, got me back going within a day or so. No major disruption. This disruption has been a major disruption. 9 days without water, having a bathroom as a one bedroom, there's only one bathroom, not being able to go to the bathroom. Luckily, I work a mile from my home. I'm able to go to my work and use the bathroom. No place to take a shower. Kind of hard to go to work and face your colleagues when you haven't showered in 4 days. I hope, I didn't know they did not pay property taxes, but I would hope that the town seriously addresses this issue. That's all I can say is please get, the fire marshal was there today, I believe. You were there today.
I think we saw you today.
We
when you were
passed each other going by. I didn't recognize everybody. I was home on a quick lunch. But I really hope that this wasn't a dog and pony show of getting everybody out there on social media. And I really, truly hope that these issues get addressed. These poor people here have issues way beyond mine. I would really hope that there is some type of inspection, some type of accountability. Now, the last couple of emails, I hope I don't go over my 2 minutes, but they want us to use our renter's insurance to cover any cost for seeking shelter, like at a hotel or something. I don't think that's right. I didn't ask to be put in this situation. I should not have to use my insurance. And then I got to pay the deductibles, and my insurance goes up, and yada, 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 yada. We're all in that position. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Madison Sage. I've been a resident with Concierge for the last 2 years, and it's been nothing but issues for me. Between the fire alarms going off, 9 days now without hot water, I have 2 animals, haven't been able to give them proper drinking water. I've been going to the store, getting gallons of water. Haven't been able to shower. There's so much water damage building up in my bathroom that the wall is disconnected from the baseboard. You can see inside the wall there's water coming through my floor in the bathroom. I've responded to multiple emails, haven't gotten anything back. And this leak has started in my bathroom before the pipes even burst. So now with the whole pipe issue, it's been a lot worse for me. And they have me in the hotel currently, and they just extended my stay until the 7th. But just like that gentleman was saying, they are still trying to have me go through my renter's insurance, which is not fair to me. So I really hope this stuff gets taken care of and covered. And I appreciate you guys for coming out and doing what you guys have to do to take care of everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? I have a comment. All right. Oh. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Riley Carvel. I've been living at Concierge for about 3 months now. I haven't even been there for as long as these people have been, but it's been nothing but problems for me also. The extent of all of the damage and the issues that go on in the building has been so bad, and just in my 3 months of staying there, I can't even imagine what everybody else has been going through for the past years living there. The fact that we're having to pay for a carport that doesn't even function properly, the doors are never closed, the ceilings are falling on everyone's cars and damaging everyone's property. A gentleman's car was damaged so bad last night that there were metal beams going through the top of his car. This building is not safe for anyone. The fact that there are walls that are just deteriorating from the inside out, you can push on the wall that is on the outside of my bathroom and you can see the rot just everywhere. I saw a hole cut in the wall today and you can see straight into someone's bathroom. There's no privacy, there's no safety. All of the doors with the key fobs don't even work anymore. Every door you can just swing right open. There's no safety measures that is taken. Every email that is sent out for any repairs never comes back. No one ever comes and checks on anything. They're just being able to feed off of people's rent with a building that hasn't even been kept up with for years. And I don't think it's okay that they're being able to do this and put people in this predicament when they're not even taking actions to fix anything. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. All right, anybody else? Do we have any correspondence by email? So typically our policy is we don't go back and forth through public comment. However, because this is such a pressing issue, I do plan to address it in my mayor's report. We may have comments through the town manager as well later on in the meeting. So you're welcome to stick around for that, or it'll be available to see that online as well, because we do have some updates, because this has been an active, activity that we've been dealing with, obviously.
How do we gain access to that online information? Is that through the town website?
So all of our meetings, and I apologize, everybody, for doing, no, you're good. This is what we're here for. All of our meetings are on the town's YouTube page. Okay. So you can watch all of our past public meetings through there. And with our new technology and microphones, you should be able to hear it. Did we have anybody else that wanted to comment? Okay, not to put anybody on the spot, but before we close the public comment portion of the meeting.
I do.
Okay, all right, you came in right at the buzzer.
I walked over the hills and through the woods to get here.
Yep, the microphone's right there. It's okay. Yep, and you can just say your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Ebony Glover. I'm at 300 Cold Spring Road, Concierge Apartments. Hi. So My first town council meeting probably won't be the last. I'm here as a resident of Rocky Hill for 2 years now. My only experience for Rocky Hill has been concierge apartments. Don't know anything else about Rocky Hill. I thought this would be a place that I would like to buy a home. I'm still considering that. So, concierge, I'm here as a resident. I'm angry, I'm frustrated, and my nerves are broken. This is one issue with the frozen pipes, one issue of many. In my opinion, this is very reactive, not you all, but them, instead of being proactive. I've only been here for 2 years, and apparently this has been an ongoing issue with freezing pipes and other issues. So I'm here today to basically say my piece and ask for some help. I'm not sure where the source of the rumors are, or even if they're rumors, but the way that I'm being told is concierge is this big conglomerate and no one can go up against them. So no matter what they do, what they don't do, just throw your hands in the air and leave it to litigation. Well, I'm here to tell you I work from home and I pay taxes. I have not had water for 9 days. I took it upon myself to go to a hotel. And not just the water, but there mold, mushrooms, vermin, dog feces, poor management, so many other things. There's always an influx of garbage piled in the hallways. And when I say dog feces, I'm not talking about just outside. I'm talking about inside, on the carpet, smushed in the elevators. Last year, I tore my ACL. First time on crutches, I had to maneuver into my apartment. Not just the snow, it was dog poop. It's a problem. It's a health hazard. We all know dog feces can basically make people sick. So I'm here to say the pipes are one thing. That's the hot topic today. But when these pipes are hopefully repaired, there's still going to be tons of other issues. And I'm afraid of like structural damage. I live in a first floor apartment. If I showed you all my electric bill, I've never been on a payment plan in my life. And again, and I work from home, so I'm there, you know, and I only heat probably 2 rooms. So I'm sure I'm only here for 2 years, but I know this has been an ongoing issue. I'm small. I'm doing what I can for me, other residents. You know, some people don't want to speak out. I'm not afraid. If not me, then who? You know, and I'm all for good trouble, right? So, hi. That's it.
All right, thank you, Ms. Glover. All right, moving on to the next agenda item, appointments and resignations. I think
Yes.
Councilor Thoreau, you have one?
Yes, we have one appointment for the Affordable Housing. We want to reappoint Dea Shadowfax for a full term. She filled a term that someone had left, so that term expired, and was requested by Kim Ritchie that we reappoint her. So I submit her name for reappointment.
Okay, do we need to vote on that, or is it just?
We don't have to vote on that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we have?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve nominee.
So moved.
Moved in second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
None on our side. Appointments or resignations.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Sorry. I just knew that one was a neutral appointment. I should hope not. We already appointed like 100 people a couple weeks ago. Agenda item number 4, approval of minutes from Town Council meeting January 20th.
Motion to approve town council meeting minutes from January 20th.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, subcommittee reports. Finance?
We did not have a meeting. Our next meeting is next week, next Tuesday.
Okay, government operations?
And next meeting is March 3rd.
Public safety?
No meeting. Next meeting is in 2 weeks.
Senior liaison?
Yes. Senior Liaison met last Monday. We got a report from Gina and from Missy from the Senior Center. She announced that there were 2,373 members, 1,916 from Rocky Hill, 457 are out-of-town members. And there are 297 that use the transportation, and they just received a new bus. Just also wanted to announce that the Medicare supplement has fitness programs, and we have 3 providers: Silver Sneakers, Renew Active, and Silver and Fit. So seniors that have any of those, they can take classes for free. The insurance company pays for the program, so it doesn't cost the town anything. Additional new programs coming this year, or either started or coming, HIT Tabitha, which is a high-intensity program, winter walking, small group training, better balance, and balance and strength, which is a program that's going to be presented by a University of Hartford professor and, I guess, students, I assume physical therapy students. Italian language program, education programs, one on cathedrals, one on Haunted Town in Connecticut, opera singers. The tax preparation program is ongoing, and there's still slots for any seniors who want to have their taxes done. There's also outdoor adventures of bald eagles, and there's also meetings going on to organize a senior golf league and a chess tournament in Glastonbury on February 21st. And we held the first coffee with the mayor was held on the 24th, and the next one will be March 23rd. And the next meeting, February 23rd, I'm sorry. And the next meeting of the senior liaison will be on the 23rd. I also have a few things from Human Services. If people need help for applying for Operation Fuel, they should contact the office. They're going to initiate a food pantry pilot. They're going to have some Saturday hours from 10 to 2 every other Saturday. And those appointments to use the pantry are by appointment, so that to keep the privacy of people that are getting food. They also reported that the Hill House Theater Group is having auditions. They're going to be doing the play Let's Hang 'Em and Read the Will. It's a mystery, and those auditions will be in March. Human Services provides staff to assist residents with filling out applications for various things that they may need. They will go to people if they're homebound, or they can come in the office. And regarding concierge, Missy Hicks did say that if you have any issues that you have, any things that you have requested, repairs or pictures or anything, take pictures, document everything. And if you need help with kind of going through all of this, you can contact their office at 860-258-2799.
All right, thank you. Land acquisition, farmland preservation.
We had a meeting last Tuesday, January 27th. We discussed the Rocky Hill Community Farm, and one thing that was done was the hydrants were, as we had discussed at our last meeting, hydrants had been put in, or a hydrant had been put in by MDC, and an electrical pole is installed, which was done by Eversource, and that was underground. We'll have an underground wire to the barn. Plumbing, getting water from the hydrant on New Road to the community garden area is going to be very expensive. Ray and team are going to take that back and kind of get an further estimate on how that could be done. Next up for projects is getting a price on 2 porta potties, and that would be supplied by Parks and Rec in lieu of septic, which would be very expensive. One thing we did approve was in our prior meeting in October, we had a presentation by Kira Potter. She's a sophomore at the high school, and she's working on her Girl Scout Gold Award project. And she's working, part of the project is to build an educational garden filled with native pollinator plants. And so she gave a presentation, followed up her presentation with making a garden of 25 feet by 25 feet on the Rocky Hill Community Farm, which would not conflict with the, what do you call it, Fran? Community garden. So we approved that. And we also approved the pricing for the community beds. There's 89 total beds for the community garden. And we approved the pricing ranging from $35 to $40. But there will be a cost for lumber that we're going to be researching on how to get that done. Our next meeting is in 3 weeks.
Great, thanks. Liaison to the state rep and state senator.
Quick update. There's some updates from Representative Carrie Wood, including that she's been working with local farmers on fixes to the PA 490 problem. That's the framework that ties tax value for certain lands, including our farms, to use value rather than market value. Councilors John Emanuel and Fran Whelan have both been very active on this as well. There's no permanent fix as of yet, but we did get some movement. The governor did direct that the 2020 values be held for the moment, and Representative Wood appointed Councilor Emanuel to the newly formed PA 490 working group, and he'll be staying close with our local farmers so that they have a seat at the table. Representative Wood also shared that the legislature's Animal Caucus held a 4-hour informational forum last week that several Rocky Hill residents attended and spoke at. They are finalizing priorities with a focus on stronger penalties for animal abuse and a creation of an animal abuse registry. Representative Wood also will be at the Senior Center on March 26th during the senior lunch to provide legislative updates and take some questions, and she encourages residents to attend her office hours and coffee hours. I wanted to share that Councilor Melissa Kaplan has applied for Rocky Hill to serve as a pilot community for establishing a resiliency improvement district. I want to keep our delegation looped in on that and make sure that we're positioned for partnership if there's a path to state support. It's an excellent opportunity for the town if we can get in on that. And finally, the time has finally come. I've mentioned it at several meetings now, but opening day of the legislative session is on Wednesday this week, and we will have a delegation at the Capitol. It will be the mayor, myself, and Jessica Lafredo, the chair of the Board of Ed. And we will be up there making sure that we are making connections and putting a face to the needs of our residents here in town and getting us positioned to seek the best outcomes for us over the course of the short session. That's really my report. I did want to mention briefly, I'm sure that the mayor will go into more detail during his report, but I wanted to thank our state senator and our state rep for being so active on the issue at Concierge today and in the days ahead. They are connecting state resources and they are working hard to make sure that we respond as quickly and as effectively as we can. And with that, thank you. In case I thought it in my brain and I didn't say it out loud, Councilor Emanuel has been named to the PA 490 working group. And
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't listen.
He doesn't listen. All right. School liaison.
The only thing is school liaison, the board held 2 of their budget workshops, and they have 1 more remaining workshop, and then I guess they'll make any recommendations if there's any changes to their budget, so they'll be more forthcoming.
Okay. Seeing nothing on the consent agenda, next up is old business. Item number A, discussion possible action, budget initiatives, priorities, and focus areas. Ray, anything to add? Does anybody have any thoughts on the?
Last time I kind of gave you some homework, kind of honed down some of these priorities. I'll throw mine out based on what we've been hearing. Taking all those you see on that list, every department's working from that list because this is what we do. But for the town council and for direction for Mona and myself, I'm thinking you have priorities on education, public safety, economic development, of course, community engagement, and operational efficiencies, general efficiencies in what we do and how we do it. beyond that, I mean, I see those as your priorities from what I've been hearing for 3 months. So, give me some
Yeah,
ideas.
I don't know of anything off the top of my head to add to your list that you had done previously. Anybody else?
I've spent some time thinking about it over the course of the last couple of weeks, and I do have actually a list of at least one priority in my mind for each one of these headers that you had in the memo that you provided us, which was very helpful, mind you.
Thank you.
The ones that I'll flag, I won't go through my whole list. I'll talk to you guys about them separately, but I will mention that, for example, on public safety, I want to see a concrete traffic calming and enforcement strategy and making sure that our fire and EMS training and gear are fully supported. On infrastructure, prioritized roads and drainage plans and that residents can actually track on our website and, backed with preventative maintenance for our fleet and disciplined facilities plan, which I know we have, but just making sure we hone in on the best possible plan. On planning and economic development, it's, getting to implementable actions pretty quickly rather than just, a circle of conversations. I think we are on the verge of having some target areas we want to do things with and setting them up for success. And then there's IT, which is this is a big one for me. I think on the IT front, we really need a complete overhaul of our website, a redesign, and an alignment of a communication strategy that takes whatever other platforms we have to communicate with residents and aligns it to that activity on the website. I'm not going to go into crazy detail here because I'm sure we can have a discussion in the future, but an example of this would be anytime that there's a public meeting, the space where somebody would find the information about the public meeting, there should be an easy click through to emailing a comment for that meeting. When you go to a department, everything should be easy to find, and we can go forward on that. But I do have other ideas. If anyone wants to hear them, I'm happy to go on, but I'm going to stop for now because I've been going on for a while.
I want to say something. Under planning and land use, we talk about implementing the plan of the conservation and development, implementing the resiliency plan. There's a lot to that. So I was thinking I would, and I did not for this meeting, I apologize, but maybe soon, reviewing that and seeing of those, what can we prioritize? I don't know if there's already thoughts on that in town, but perhaps we as a board, or I can make some suggestions on that, as I do want to stress more resiliency, as that is actually a directive from our recent climate bill that came through from the legislation this year, or 2025. So, which it is reflected in here, so I appreciate that. But perhaps there's some more exact priorities that we can pull out. That's the only thing I want to say. Is there a deadline? I mean, besides today, by chance?
Yeah, we'll be looking at the budget schedule
Okay. So,
soon, like in the next couple of minutes.
yep. Okay, so the budget schedule, got it.
Ray, just a quick question. Do these items, or some of these items, appear in the budget book for the beginning of each department where they have their goals?
Their goals tie in, and what they do is they have a goal, and then they tie into a number, one of the numbers that will be prioritized in the budget. So, for example, our environmental, implement drainage study for resiliency, and that will tie into. I don't have the headings; I didn't memorize them, but it will tie into A, and it will list the goal or the focus area, focus area that will be in the front of the budget book, but they're not on each page.
Yeah, there will be a new component that we put in the budget book, which will take all of these focus areas and then gather up. So if a department said they wanted to do plan of conservation and they had an action item, you'd actually see it appear in that order. So rather than digging through the book, there should be a recap that brings it back to those levels.
It'll be easier than it has been in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Okay.
That way you can see it.
So if, for example, if Fran and I had an idea about deliverables for the police department and attaining certain numbers, could we give that to you by a certain time? to incorporate?
Yes,
I mean,
please.
Soon.
Okay. All right.
That's what I was looking for.
soon.
Okay,
Soon,
soon.
Melissa.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Ray.
And Mukesh.
Yeah, I think to Councilor Van Luling's point of, some of the examples that you use kind of fall under the implement resiliency plan, implement complete streets policy, some of those things. These are not the specific items like of this one thing, but every specific goal should roll up to one of these. It's almost similar to like a strategic plan when you say, well, we have this committee or we have this project to accomplish this part of the strategic plan. At least that's how I see it. And I feel all of these are important parts, but it's not the tactic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, each department will have an action
Right.
for their objective to accomplish that particular goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do appreciate the changes you made. I thought they were good.
Yep. Anything further on that? Anybody? All right. Moving on to old business item B, discussion possible action, update shared services operational assessments. Who would like to start? Okay. First, let's take a step back. So January 22nd, we had a meeting, Councilor Thoreau, Councilor Whalen, Mr. Carpentino, and Mona. We had a meeting with members of the Board of Ed to discuss this that has been kicking around on our agenda for months. And we had a few takeaways that I'll just touch on first before we get into, where do we go from here. So their attorney was present, went over the state statute, how that relates to our charter, and how how the Board of Ed acts as an independent governing body, and where there are some issues trying to combine resources that are overseen by both, or that play with both. But we had a very good conversation about a lot of the things that we already do together, things that we could potentially do in the future, and a lot of the benefits that we get just by simply having that conversation, because that conversation of everybody being in the same room hadn't really happened regularly. And by having that conversation, we already identified some areas that I think ongoing, we will be able to be a little bit more efficient, perhaps be able to deliver better services, and just through more regular communication. So I think one of the takeaways is that meeting already, we plan on having quarterly meetings between the two finance departments to look at what each side is spending money on and where we can combine some of those. So that's a good takeaway by itself. But we went over some of the things that we're already doing together, and we want to make sure that everybody's on the same page as far as that. So right now, the departments, the Board of Ed and some of the other town departments do work together a fair amount on things like Parks and Rec handles all the sports fields. Public Works does a very good job of plowing everything to make sure that school can happen. A lot of towns don't necessarily communicate the same way and make sure that the roads are plowed and the parking lots are plowed, so that we've seen in the most recent, we finally had snow this year, and a lot of it, and yet Rocky Hill wasn't as delayed and didn't miss as much school as some other towns did. If anybody drove through, Rocky Hill was clear. Our neighboring towns, not quite as much. So that's one thing where they work together. We also share some equipment. Parks and Rec and the town will borrow each other's Bobcat here and there. The Board of Ed loaned out their IT manager to help last year with some transitional period, and paid a small stipend to do that while there was a vacancy. But the biggest one is by combining our insurance policies last year or a couple years ago, we save about $1 million a year. And it saved we got about $1.6 million back, which is funding the roof at West Hill School. So those are things we're already working on. And also the Board of Ed was very quick to point out that we spend far less per student than average and get better than average results. So they're hesitant to think that there's a lot of extra meat on the bone there. But they also had some ideas around where in the future we can save some money already. We're looking at potentially taking our after-school program in-house, having Parks and Rec manage that instead of outsourcing that to the YWCA. That will keep the money in-house that parents are spending to do that already, and it might be a little bit of revenue to be able to keep that program going as well and deliver better results. We can work together by meeting regularly to do bulk purchasing, and down the road expanding the Dream Academy to handle outside students is something that they'd like to do once the Dream Academy is settled and they kind of steady with the Dream Cafe and all of that. It might be an opportunity for us to also have another revenue source through that. So that's all of kind of what that meeting came to. So I think the general consensus was the sharing of human resources may be a challenge. That's the attorney's opinion based on what the charter and the state statutes say. I know we've got some of that information. I'm not sure if anybody else that was in the meeting wants to share kind of takeaways from that as well, but they followed up, I believe, with sending us the statute that oversees that. Yes, so jump in if I missed anything.
I reviewed the statutes that they sent us, but I also looked at a few of the other statutes. And it does specify that boards of ed and the town can do things like goods and services, which are already doing some, but that kind of thing. And also central and administrative office functions may also be, obviously you need the consent of both parties, but those types of things that we can have efficiencies and perhaps, I guess to become more efficient there. So there are specific statutes that do allow that.
Any other takeaways from the meeting? Councilor Whalen, you were there.
It seems to be the attorney for the Board of Ed persuasive or swaying against any type of joint ventures with the town, being a lot of state statutes that the Board of Ed has to be run independently. And I think there'd be too much difficulty running it with the town and who's going to report to who and who's going to finance what areas. So it was the Board of Ed's recommendation that the shared services they're not too fond of, being that it's going to be too difficult, as well as state statutes limit some of that. So that was one of the biggest takeaways. And while the good things came about, though, that we can work on and work together on, that we worked out amongst ourselves. And I think the quarterly meetings would be great if we continue doing that and going over things jointly and see what we can improve ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, basically, we went over some of the shared services the town and the Board of Ed had in the past, and one of those things was facilities, and it seemed to be unanimous of anybody that remembers that they do not want to go through with that again, and we had a number of examples of that. So that being said, where we're at now is looking at what we want to do around operational assessments or efficiency surveys, and I believe the Board of Ed is okay with that. I think they would welcome that. I think they just want to maintain their independence in the administration of that. And I can understand not, as an independent body, not wanting to have somebody else dictate to them how they're going to do that. But we can certainly, and we've already kind of set aside some funds, we can allocate some funds to doing that and them kind of being the implementers of it. But it's all our decision as well, because we also want to look on our side. That's not just for the Board of Ed, that's also for in-house, for us at Town Hall.
What do you recommend, Mona? Should we just pick certain departments and then put it out to bid and see what people come back at for fees?
Well, again, I think we had probably mentioned in the past that the CLA is on the state bid, so we wouldn't have to bid for that. And they do specialize in the central office type, the finance and the IT and the, purchasing and so forth. So we could, contact them and maybe, finite the list and have them quote back what that is and how it fits into the amount we have allocated. So I think that would be your best step. I think the Board of Ed kind of gave the impression that they might want to select a different vendor, and I imagine we should allow them to do that if they can find something other than CLA on the state bid.
Can I ask a question? The CLA is through the CROG, right? That's the CROG
Yes,
vendor?
yes.
Okay, just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Can I ask, are we moving on from the shared services and going right to operational efficiency? 'Cause I did have a question on the shared services. I don't want to just miss it. But, I think the summary you gave was great. Thank you, Mayor. Some of the things we do together, like the Park and Rec and the Town Works, doing the snow removal and whatnot, we share it, but we pay for it. So just, it's beautiful what together on that. I mean, but that does come from the top anyway, so it is what it is. And I love the shared equipment, but, you mentioned two things, the after-school care. It's an opportunity for us to make money. Why don't they do it if they have an opportunity to make money? I just a question, not to be answered tonight, but in my head, I have that when they come to budget season, Same thing with the Dream Academy. I thought there was an opportunity once we got up and going that we would have that, and that's good to hear. And of course, on the after-school care. And the facilities, I do remember that coming up in years past, not when I was even on the council. And there was, some, who's in charge, who am I going to listen to, that kind of stuff. Frankly, I'm surprised that that's an issue. I would think we could come up with a better branch or tree. So anyways, I guess they're dismissing the shared services, but we also may have opportunity for shared services with other towns. It wasn't just strictly with Board of Ed that we were concentrating on, but maybe some of our, neighboring towns, we have the opportunity to do so too. So I don't know if we want to completely get rid of shared services, maybe with the Board of Ed, maybe, which I'm disappointed at, that they wouldn't at least listen, because when it works for them, they come looking for help from us. So anyways, that's just public opinion, or my opinion, I should say. But thank you. Efficiency services, I'm all about doing it. I know we have to be, which ones we're going to pick, which I think is important. I hope the Board of Ed, I thought they were going to use the same service, but if they want to use their own, I guess it's on their dime, right? So, because that was another discussion point that came up, right? So, anyways, thank you.
That kind of makes it more complicated. So would they pay for their study? Would we pay for ours, or we have two contractors working side?
Yeah, I think the challenge, if they select a different vendor than we select, it's going to be much harder to align anything that we might be able to align.
If there was something, correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think, and I'm just using CLA as an example because they've been talked about, but if they use CLA, we also use CLA. It's the same company that says, hey, you guys purchase your widgets through this company and you guys purchase your widgets through that company. Why don't you both purchase through the same company and save money? They'll be able to see that because they're looking at both sides. Mm-hmm. So it would be an issue, I think, if they decided on a different vendor.
I agree.
It's also, it also could vary if we do different departments that aren't just finance and IT and things like that, then we may have to use a different vendor because it might not be a vendor that vendor might not do anything with public works or public safety or something like that. And just to circle back real quick, though, the issue of the after-school programs, that Parks and Rec, I believe, does that because they already do so many other, they manage the pre-K program, right?
Yeah, plus the town can manage the special revenue funds, because again, that'd be a fee for service, and that should be the town, not Board of Ed, because they're a department, they shouldn't be doing fee for service.
As long as,
So
and
that's
that
how it
positive is
separates.
great. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter who does it, but,
Yeah,
you know.
that's
yeah.
where that
Right now,
happens.
the Y does the after-school program, so money's going to the Y. If we did it in town, then we'd be getting.
Yeah, I know, I wish it happened earlier, yeah, in a way, yeah, yeah.
It's just, it's another, almost like running another business.
Yep.
And then to the point of the Dream Academy, I think the challenge right now is also space.
But one thing I'd like to say is I totally agree with Councilor Slovini on, it's not just shared services with looking at Board of Ed, but some aspect of internal. But I've been pushing that we need to, on a greater scale, stop thinking of the 169 fiefdoms in Connecticut and start thinking across the borders when we think about shared services. So it might be something to think about that won't cost a dime if you and Ray sat down with the mayor and town manager of Weathersfield and Newington and say, well, we're doing this, what do you do? And if they're doing something better, then maybe we can incorporate it here. Or there's some aspect of interdepartment like zoning enforcement or something.
Yeah, we did start that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we sat down with the mayor and the town manager of Weathersfield a few weeks ago and started that conversation. We're having bi-monthly, quarterly. We set up regular meetings so that'll continue.
Okay.
And also, there's a meeting. It got pushed back, but I was going to be in a meeting of all of the Hartford County area mayors and town managers as well to talk about some of these services that cross town lines, specifically to tackle issues such as transportation, homelessness. These don't, have, stepping it back a little bit, this is trying to share some of our public works, trying to share some of our human services, because people don't necessarily recognize the line in the sand when they have these issues. So some of that is in the works, and I think a lot of, I've been in communication with our neighboring mayors and met kind of individually with each of them to talk about some issues. But certainly that stuff doesn't cost anything, like contracting with a company to look at how two towns can combine things needs both sides to agree to spend the money. That's a little tougher. But we've certainly opened up the lines of communications with our neighbors to talk about some of that stuff.
I think the sufficiency bid or whatever it has to be include the Board of Ed. We can't be separating out monies for the Board of Ed and what they're gonna do and what we're gonna do. This is one big picture. We put it all together. We pick the Board of Ed for the administrative end, whatever other departments, and we put it out to bid. And then we determine, this is what they determine for the Board of Ed side. They get to implement it or they don't. It's up to them. But the Board of Ed said they're not gonna spend their own money for this, so it's not gonna happen if we leave it up to them. They say that they didn't budget for it, then they don't have the funds. So if we put one RFP out with whatever departments we choose, let them do their efficiency study, and then we determine what we want to do on our town side. They can determine what they want to do on the Board of Ed side, I guess.
Yeah, and all of this is just a study to determine what we might be able to do. We
Right.
still have to take a look at it and see whether it makes sense.
you
True.
hit it.
If we want to do it or don't do it, you know, it's up to us as
Because
being a town.
100%, if you contract with somebody to find something, they will find something, but it might not make sense logistically or statutorily or
Or even immediately.
immediately. They may,
Maybe
yeah.
something where attrition helps us with that, you know, but at least we know ahead of time.
Yeah, and also like combining our health insurance, we couldn't do that overnight.
Right.
You know, so they might identify something where we have to wait for one contract to end before we can actually do it, and that might be a few years from now. But it's not a ton of money in the grand scheme of things if it gives us a roadmap for maybe doing this in the future.
I just wanted to put a big circle around what Councilor Savini just said about the long-term eye on this as we get this information back. That's, thank you for saying that.
Mr.
Is it also, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, is it
Deputy.
possible when, you know, with one vendor, they may have people that are expertise in looking at boards of eds and somebody else that's looking at council within the same vendor, and that might make the Board of Ed feel more comfortable. So it's just a thought of looking into that.
Right.
Yeah, good. I'll recommend that we get a quote from CLA.
Yep.
Bring it back and discuss, and we can get a scope from them, a draft scope, so we can look at it. And then this part 2 of this would be maybe later on in the summer or early summer, maybe late spring, we look at another vendor for, you know, highway, police, public safety, community development. Because community development is tied into public works. Maybe a vendor that's experienced in studying those functions as opposed to finance.
As
and
opposed to
IT.
the financial and administrative functions.
Let's get a quote first, see what this is going to cost.
Okay.
What's the quote going to be for? What are you focusing on with the quote?
Yeah, is it just gonna be, it's gonna be Board of Ed and town what though?
No,
What
what?
categories?
Finance, just administration, finance, purchasing.
Purchasing, payroll,
Okay.
payables.
Technology
Back
or
office functions that we do.
Is that all of it, though? That's the list of what we would do?
Unless you want to do more, let me know. I mean, we can do more administrative. I mean, when CLA came in, they indicated that, you know, looking at like a 3-department person, you're not going to get a savings there, but,
Yeah.
you know, we can look at
No, I like
assessor or,
Any revenue collections,
Yeah.
you know, just
I like the
internally, right. Yeah.
I do want to say one thing about, I went to the first day of the budget meetings last week for the Board of Education, and the number is pretty high for people, administration, in terms of the, you know, typical yearly raises and all of that and all the stuff that comes in from that. So I do think that, I mean, I think we are all agreeing, but I just want to put a point on that I think we need that looked at. And I hope CLA will, you know, you said CLA is good at, has experience working with the central office and things like that, and I think that's key.
Do we need a motion in order to send them on?
Yeah, do we need a motion for next steps,
Be
or
helpful.
can you just take our, okay.
either way, but a motion would probably be clearer.
I'll make a motion for us to go out for a quote on the Board of Ed and town departments that the town manager just mentioned, and come back to us with information about what it would look like.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just, obviously, you're going to include the costs. I mean, it's not just what they'll do, but the cost for doing it, and
Right.
potentially itemize that cost as an amendment to the motion.
Yes.
Good. I think, I knew you
Yeah,
meant it,
I'll
but
accept
just
it.
Do we-
As
be
amended.
clearer.
No, very clear, thank you.
Let me add another discussion point. Do we need to specify a dollar amount, or are we gonna let them do it, like a cap of, or do you think that they would go to that number?
If we specify a dollar amount, they'll spend
Yeah,
every
I was
last
gonna say
dollar.
they'll spend it.
I think we
Okay.
leave it open, see what happens.
All right.
Thank you.
Can we get what departments are you looking at, or where are we focusing on that you're going to ask for this bid?
Yeah, you want to make that part of the motion, you mean?
I think
Yeah,
we-
that's-
I think
was-
we need to
that's
be
what I was trying to
specific.
in what he had described as.
Okay,
So
well,
finance,
administration,
yeah. So finance includes, the whole processing, back office, billing, purchasing, that whole 9 yards there. Yeah, human resources.
I think human resources may not be part of it. I thought they were very clear on that.
They won't share, but to look at efficiency is,
On,
Okay.
yeah, on our
Okay.
side.
I think you had mentioned assessor, right?
What's that?
Assessor's office?
Any,
On our
some,
side.
anything that like revenue passes through
Yeah,
type thing?
Yeah,
Tax office.
town revenues.
yeah, tax office.
I mean, facilities is a tough one too, but that's important.
Yeah, I'm thinking facilities would be grouped in with the public works and the highway and the public safety. That more of a different type of consultant, I think, would be better to focus on those functions than CLA. I'm thinking.
Correct. You
Yeah.
would definitely have to go out for RFP on that. There's no one on a state contract that does those areas. So you'd have to go out and create RFP, whereas we can take advantage of the fact that there is a vendor that's available, and we could move quicker in those areas that are already on state contract.
Okay.
So that's to our advantage.
And that is for town, but do we also need to then specify what we're looking for the Board of Education too?
Well, I think what we just
That was
mentioned was both.
intended to be both
Yeah,
sides.
that was
Okay.
intended to be both.
I did
yeah.
leave out IT.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to mention IT.
Yeah.
IT as well, okay. But that would cover.
So we have a motion on the table. Has it been amended
So I amended
sufficiently?
Yes.
Do I make a motion as amended?
You have all that, Dan?
I have finance, admin, HR, assessor, tax, IT.
Good.
Cost and itemized, as Councilor Savini said. So a motion to go out for that quote as amended and as discussed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
On our way.
Yes.
Not quite off of our agenda yet. That's my goal, to get it off the agenda for tonight, but it's gonna stay on old business for a while. All right, new business, the budget schedule for the upcoming budget season. Did everybody get a chance to look at the budget that came, or the schedule that came out?
Here's a new one.
There's a, yes, there's a new one. So this was sent out I might have two copies of the same one, but this was sent out originally, and then I sent just a couple edits. My thinking was this. Last year, I think there were 4 or 5 budget hearings, and what happens is when you combine departments like fire, police, ambulance, public works all in one night, it either ends up being 4 hours, or the last department doesn't really get a lot of time and attention. So the direction this year, and I think kind of the consensus maybe from a bunch of us, was let's break this out into more meetings, only 1 or 2 departments, depending on the size, so that they can be more bite-sized. We can delve in and at the same time not have super late meetings in respective staff's time, especially when we're asking all the directors to be here. So we went from 5 meetings to like 11. So I asked to combine a couple of the smaller ones, and Mona came back with this is the updated schedule, which still has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with a flex at the end. What does everybody think about that schedule?
I love the schedule. I wanted to say that because I do think that it's great that we're going to add more meetings. It's more opportunities for focused questions, for real daylight on a lot of the issues we might have, and some recovery time for all of us and everyone involved in between in order to get our minds focused onto each department fully. And as you said, give everyone the attention they deserve and the issues the attention they deserve. So I love the schedule, and I'm looking forward to voting on it.
The only other thing I will add, and then just before I forget it, is also I recommend between the time that we receive the budget and the first workshop, or even before the first public hearing, April 7th about it, let's get all of our questions over to Mona and Ray ahead of time. So once we see the budget and we say, hey, what about this? I don't understand this, or why are we doing that? Let's get those questions over ahead of time so they can be addressed the first time somebody comes. Because what I've seen in the past a lot of times is, somebody from IT comes, we ask a bunch of questions, they don't necessarily know that answer on the spot. When's the contract up for whatever? If we can get them that stuff ahead of time, then they can come prepared and they don't have to come back. Gets our answers right away. The Board of Ed, I watched some of the Board of Ed meetings as well. They provided all their stuff ahead of time, and the superintendent just went line by line. Here's the answer to your 23 questions, So just a little bit more efficient, so. I mean, nobody likes homework, but, I think we can handle a little bit.
Good with us?
Any other modifications? If somebody takes a look at their calendar later and thinks that there might be something to move around just based on availability or something, can we still modify this before? Okay, we can just let.
Finance Committee has a meeting on the 14th of April. But we could probably move ours, I guess.
Yeah. And this may be a short meeting looking at the type of departments that we put together, so we'll see if.
Yeah,
we're
obviously,
going
some of these
5:30
are
and
shorter than
we're
others.
Yeah, I'm just bringing it,
Thanks.
that's the conflict between meetings that I see, but,
These are all finance meetings. What are you talking? We're gonna have 2 a week. They're all finance meetings. All right, seeing no other questions or changes here, I'm moving on to the mayor's report. I'm gonna try to keep this, what? Do we need to accept it? Yeah. Okay.
Motion to accept the revised 2026-2027 budget schedule.
Anybody with a second?
Second. Oh, good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So I will try to keep this short and sweet because we've still got some stuff ahead of us, and we've got some troopers that have stuck through in the audience. So already went over that meeting from the Board of Ed. So I did have coffee hour at the Senior Center on January 22nd. It was actually, that was well attended. I just want to put a book note, or, note here that the next one is going to be February 26th. That's at the Senior Center. I think we had a couple dozen people at the last one. So it was really good, really well attended, lots of good questions. We also have an event coming up here February 11th from the organization Shine Your Light Connecticut. They're having an Inclusivity Family Engagement Night here at the Community Center. That is it's going to have events and activities for families with youth with autism spectrum disorder and developmental disabilities. That's going to be on the 11th from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Community Center. Councilor Thoreau address this really quickly, but Health and Human Services has added a little bit more availability, including to use the food pantry. So that is by appointment only. Reach out to our Health and Human Services for that. I received a couple letters in the last week. I forwarded them on to Ray. I got one letter from lieutenants at the Bristol Fire Department thanking Sal Gentile from the fire department for all of his help in coordinating after the events, where we had a retired firefighter, Jay Kelly, who had passed away. Bristol came in force to support him and his family, and Sal was their point person, and they just wrote a really nice letter to myself and Chief Garahy. Also got a letter for Mike Murphy, who was our library director, about how awesome he was and is. Good stuff to report. If anybody else has any positive things for staff members, I like to shed a light on those as much as I can. Now, getting to the biggest issue over the last week or so, concierge. So I have met with the property management this morning. I spoke with some of the ownership folks in California. Representative Kerry Wood has spoken with a number of people as well, another number of departments, including the Attorney General's office, Commissioner of Housing, and got in touch with somebody that actually we both know that owns a lot of short-term rental housing to try to accommodate some of the people that are needing to find additional housing. Also, Senator Lesser has gotten in touch with a lot of different departments with the state, and our town staff has been on site. They had a meeting there today, multiple departments, but we've been there really since the very beginning of the snowstorm, the first leaks and frozen pipes, and that is everyone from Health and Human Services to the fire marshal to building inspectors. The fire department has been there. So we are trying to engage as much as possible to support the residents there. Sometimes it's not always visible from the outside that some of that is happening, but I'm sure most of the people there have seen a fire truck recently. Most of our team actually went out and walked the site today. Councilor Van Luling, Deputy Mayor Thoreau, and Councilor Desai and I were all there, met with the Emergency Management Director, Chief Garahy, and talked through kind of the situation and the way they see it. So the status, as I understand it now, in having communications with the property owners as well, is that buildings 100, 200, and 300, they are offering relocations to anybody who contacts them. They are...
I'm sorry, what's a relocation?
So so some of the pipes are leaking still. Some are frozen, they have to thaw them. They need to shut off water to fix a lot of it. So they're saying, if you want to be relocated into a hotel or some sort of other accommodations, because quite frankly, they're running out of hotels. And building 100, 200, 300 is over 300 people. They already have, as of this afternoon, they had about 98 people already in other housing. And this is coming from, ownership, but also we were there. I saw contractors. They said they have 4 teams of plumbers there. There are a lot of fans and plastic, trying to basically heat areas that are exposed to the elements to try to thaw pipes. But if you shut off the water to a building, it's kind of hard to stay there. So they've been offering relocation here and there, and some people have
temporary relocation.
Yes, temporary relocation.
Thank you.
Yes. No. Thanks for asking. And so there is a hotline for people to call. We have not had success getting to an operator on that hotline, but they have hired a disaster recovery company to deal with all of this. So there's a hotline available. They sent the phone number through the email that they have for residents. So if you're not signed up for to receive those emails, make sure you are signed up. That number is 860-955-3465. And if that doesn't end up going anywhere, let us know. But they also have an email. It's resident services at 2, as in TWO, coastliving.com. That's resident services at 2coastliving.com. And that specifically sends your information to California, not to the folks that are right here. But what I would recommend, and also what Councilor Thoreau said, is document everything, send everything in writing. If you submit a work order through the portal, which is what they also recommend if you have bad water pressure or something like that, send it through the portal. I would recommend also screenshotting that. The point being so that you have documentation and times of when you've communicated with them all along the way. Lastly, I'll say our team here at Town Hall, the staff, Health and Human Services, the building department, the fire department, health district, everybody is really like all hands on deck trying to work on this. So if you're not getting anywhere with them, also don't hesitate to reach out to Health and Human Services, and they'll also connect you with additional wraparound services that you may be able to get assistance through. Go to the website, call their phone number. There's somebody will be able to get back to you there. Just the only thing I would say is they are stretched pretty thin, being all hands on deck, trying to also cover this with them. But the only good news out of this, in talking with the chief, particularly who has been here for a long time, is that they have been more responsive and more communicative with residents than in the past. So if you want to look at any silver lining, at least we're in communication with them. Whereas in the past, it has been very difficult sometimes for us to get through. So anybody have any questions on that? On where we're at right now and what steps people can take?
Yeah, they've been on notice before, so I think.
Yes, here's what I would recommend is we certainly need to keep an eye on this and circle back to it, potentially at our next meeting if this is still a thing. Maybe it's more of a conversation at our next town meeting. But I appreciate everybody that came and spoke and explained. Unfortunately, some of these are not news stories to us, and I've been in communication with dozens of residents over the last week. I know Representative Wood and State Senator Lesser have as well as a bunch of people in town. All right.
Well, Mr. Mayor, real quick, one point on that. Isn't there some sort of past history where they have some sort of consent agreement or order to do certain things, and have we seen any violation of that?
My understanding is the agreement, due to past litigation, was honored.
Okay.
And isn't connected.
Might be the reason for their slight improvement.
Yeah, I spoke to the fire marshal on that, and the pieces that they had to do, they did.
Okay.
And so that was closed.
Okay.
And unfortunately, they have not kept up as quickly as they could have since then. So they're not, they were in compliance with that at the time. So that really doesn't.
I think one of the residents made the best point about it being, them being reactive, not proactive, which
Yeah.
is one of the things we were hoping they were going to be more of, was proactive.
Yeah, and I would say right now we're in kind of triage mode.
Yep.
Right now it's make sure people have a roof over their head, make sure they have running water and hot water, and if they need to be relocated because of additional repairs or whatever, that is dealt with. We as a town and elected leadership and staff and lawyers or whatever will deal with everything after. That is priority number one. And in speaking with the property management, who, unfortunately, they're relatively new in this too, which is something that we see pretty regularly. That is their attitude too, because they don't have internet at their office. They have flooding in their own office, and they're saying, I don't even care about fixing our office. We're trying to fix everything out there first. So they're saying a lot of the right things, which is, I think, why it's really important to check back in a couple weeks and ongoing.
A couple days.
I'm not saying we're gonna sleep on this for 2 weeks. I'm just saying the next time that we're sitting here, it's something we talk about. But we could all go on about stories, and we could talk about these guys all night. That's all I have for Mayor's report. Unless we have one other.
I have a slight comment. I apologize. I did want to get off my chest that in reading a lot of comments on social media over the last couple of days and hearing the stories of folks who came out tonight and seeing firsthand what the effort looks like on the ground, I know I need to be cautious sitting up here and in this role and what I say for obvious reasons, but I will say I left today feeling disturbed. And I see our residents facing a lot of uncertainty on a daily basis and not necessarily feeling that they can trust the information they're even getting. So I just want you to know that I see you, I hear you, and I will be focusing on this as hard as I can.
All right, thank you. Moving on to town manager's report. I hope I took some of that off of your plate.
Right. You took almost all of it off
Okay.
my plate. However, just a quick follow-up. Our emergency people, our emergency, health and human services, health department, fire marshal, building, fire department will be monitoring the contractors very closely, making
Okay,
sure that
yes.
they're doing everything in accordance to building code and fire code, making sure they pull the proper permits so we can review what they're doing and making sure that they are actually doing what they're supposed to do. Human Services will be monitoring the conditions. If the relocations are not going well, they'll step in. Also, our fire chief, via his emergency management badge, has offered to contact Red Cross if needed on behalf of concierge. Right now, they say they don't need them now, but we'll look into that and make our own determination and see if we need to contact them on their behalf.
No other town business? Okay, no, we'll call it, we'll call it there.
Okay.
Quick question for town manager. I guess the Big Y Plaza sold recently. Do we get any type of percentage of that tax income coming into the town?
I'll have to check into that, the exact figure. I'll get that out to everybody.
But yes, we do, it's transfer.
Yeah, we get a
Conveyance tax,
yeah,
yeah.
conveyance fee. I'm not sure what that will be, but what it is,
Curious what it would be down the road, if you don't mind gathering that. Thank you.
I believe it's 0.25% of the transaction.
To the town, yeah.
To the town, yeah.
They pay
Do
to
you,
the
Oh,
state.
yeah, so that's good news. Thanks for, we can end that on a happier note. With that, yeah, well, no, I'll entertain a motion to move to executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. All right. I don't know how to turn it off, but yeah. Oh,
Oh, I forgot all about that.
all right,
You gonna leave the one?
all right.
Thank you.
We're back in.
Some of us are first timers.
All right, Mimi, can you read it? You're the lawyer.
Often here.
Thank you,
You're
Deputy.
the lawyer. Thank you.
Move to go into executive session pursuant to Congen Stat Section 1200, parens 2, to discuss strategy negotiations with respect to collective bargaining and pursuant to Congen Stat Section, I know, that's always how I say it, CGS Section 1-200, parens 6, parens B and E, to discuss written legal opinions regarding pending claims with the town manager, Director of Human Resources and Legal Compliance, Director of Finance and Operations, and Labor Employment Legal Counsel for the town.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that one's for real.